Hey guys, Blaze Gamer here, back another YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. It's going to be reacting to the fight as well as some other fights on the card and the event in general. It was pretty cool, so let's jump straight into it. So the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight ended in the first round. I did bet some money on Jake Paul, so I'm very happy right now that I got a huge amount of cash. Thank you to Jake Paul. I know a lot of people were doubting him, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh no, Ben can definitely get it done." Even I was actually rooting for Ben in my prediction video. I was rooting for Ben. I believed that. I did say Jake Paul would get it done, but I was definitely rooting for Ben to win. And he didn't look too bad just from watching it. His boxing style kind of very similar to the way he strikes in MMA. So it was interesting, his approach to it. I thought, he would want to get in the clinch more, and there was definitely moments in that first round where Ben Askren tied him up in the clinch, but it didn't necessarily seem too big of a game plan for Ben. Whether it was just his plan to walk Jake down and maybe gas him out, but I thought there'd be a bit more clinch on Ben's part, but he didn't really seem to want to engage that much. But I mean, Jake Paul looked very good. Just in the first round he was piecing Ben to the body, sort of setting up his left and then his right hand. So it was pretty cool. His boxing definitely looked improved from the Nate Robinson fight. I think Nate Robinson really made that fight look like a scrappy fight and showed his lack of experience. But you can see Ben Askren, just even him being in the boxing ring, you can see that he is a professional fighter. He definitely had, as I say, a very similar boxing style to his MMA striking style, so it's cool to see. But definitely a great win for Jake Paul. I know a lot of people give him a lot of hate, and I don't necessarily hate him. I was rooting for him to win this fight because I know the kind of doors it opens up, for the Dylan Dennis fight, for the Nate Diaz fight, for the Bisping fight. I know Tyron Woodley, he was also in talks, so whether Jake Paul's going to fight Tyron Woodley next, that would be cool. But just getting to some of the other fights on the card you had, some fights that really stood out to me was this guy called Joe Fournier versus Raycon. Joe Fournier is from London, so that was a really good fight. He was just piecing him up round by round. It was very good, a very entertaining fight. Another fight, it wasn't necessarily a good fight, but it was Steve Cunningham versus Frank Mir. It was very scrappy, not necessarily the most entertaining, but I think I enjoyed watching the fight because it really showed me what would happen what happens when an MMA fighter goes in there with a boxer. It's just a whole different ball game. If Steve Cunningham's, his head movement, his footwork was incredible. Like his movement in there looked really impressive. And Frank Mir, just obviously, I know he's nearly 50 and he had that huge weight disadvantage. So I mean, Frank Mir, he looked decent in there. I think he did win. I think he won the first round, I want to say, but yeah, it was a semi-decent fight. Not necessarily the most exciting, but it was cool to see Frank Mir in there. I was definitely rooting for him to get it done, but as I say, it really did show in that fight what happens when an MMA fighter crosses over to boxing. I definitely would like to see more MMA and boxing crossovers. I hope that Jake Paul beating Ben Askren opens the door even further to that. I would definitely like to see, as I say, more crossovers between boxing and MMA. I think it'd be really cool. But yeah, just getting back to the Jake Paul Ben Askren fight, as I say, Jake Paul looked very impressive. As to who I think he should fight next, I'd really like to see him either fight again Nate Diaz, Michael Bisping, or Dylan Dennis. I know that probably will be the fight to make next, but I'd definitely like to see either Bisping or Diaz, just because I'd like to see him fight another MMA fighter. I mean, I know a lot of people would probably think, why not fight a professional boxer or a boxer, but as I say, I think him beating Ben Askren really does open the door even further to, as I say, just more crossover events, and I think that would be good for the sport, because if you look at the attention this event was getting, you had a 50-50, you had Jake Paul's fan base and then you had the MMA fan base. So it was very cool just to see the different sort of opinions and thoughts. Again, a lot of people were thinking Ben was going to win. On the Triller Fight Club site, it was a 50-50, which was crazy to me. I thought maybe the Americans, well, not the Americans, but I thought more people would side with Jake Paul just from his audience. But yeah, as I say, the event in general, very cool event. Some of the music, it was a bit off. I don't know, some of the artists I didn't really know too many. As I say, you had Snoop Dogg, you had Ice Cube. He formed a really cool song, so it was cool to see Ice Cube. But the event in general, it didn't really seem too kid friendly. Like, to me, Jake Paul's fan base is mainly kids, so there's a lot of swearing and a lot of vulgar language, which I didn't really understand. It was weird. You even had Snoop Dogg dropping the N-bomb. I'm like, would you really want a 9-10-year-old kid watching this kind of stuff, but it was interesting the approach that they took to the event. As I said, I thought it'd be a little bit more, sort of targeted more Jake Paul's audience, but it was, sort of aimed for everyone. Oh, not necessarily everyone, but it seemed like it was aimed for an older audience, which was interesting. But as I say, really cool event. The venue looked really cool. Hats off to Jake Paul. He's won me a lot of money, so I'm really happy about that. But let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of the fight. What do you think of Frank Mir's performance? As well as, did you guys check out the Joe Fournier-Raycon fight? I didn't really see too many of the other ones. Again, I was watching the Whitaker versus Gastelum fight. I had 2 streams on at the same time, but I was sort of going back and forth. I'm not going to lie. My eyes were more towards this event, just because of how unique I thought it was, as I say. Just a really, really cool event, and I hope, as I say, I hope they continue to put on more events like this, because I think Jake Paul could be a huge superstar, a huge prize fighter in the sport of boxing for MMA. I think he can do a lot of great things for the sport of boxing. I know a lot of people may hate on that, but I think he's a good figure, and he's a good personality to have in the combat sports world. So as I say, guys, I hope you really enjoyed the video. Could please leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day.
Sure her opponent knows where she is. She's in the octagon still.
She can't possibly know where she is right now after taking such a massive head kick.
And Calderwood, that is it. Unbelievable.